Long-lost family enters Maggie's life and she has to make a tough decision. Plus, do not mess with Catherine Fox. We are talking all about this heavy episode starting right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
We back, AfterBuzzers! I like how we just all turn up as soon as the show comes on. This is so much fun. What's up, guys? How's it going? I am your host, Benny Adams, and thank you again for joining us for another after show of Grey's Anatomy, and it was a heavy one at that. Before we start talking all about it, I have to introduce you guys to my amazing panel. To the left of me, she is a lover of everything Grey's Anatomy, has been watching it since day one, Miss Chelsie.
Hey guys, Chelseoverocker here. Happy to be here.
And then to the left of Chelsie, she knows everything about everything on Grey's Anatomy, always Googling every little fact about this show. And this is why she is on this show. How are you doing?
Hey guys, happy to be back. I missed all of you last week. I missed talking about the show, but I am caught up. I'm ready to dive into this episode.
Ooh. Oh yeah. And then the queen of the trivia questions of Grey's Anatomy, Miss Lanisha.
Yes, I can't wait to see what you guys know about Grey's Anatomy.
That kind of rhymed. That was good.
Yes.
That was good. That rhymed.
Yeah.
I like it.
We talked about Maggie and Stevie.
All right, we have so much to talk about today, including some interesting news and gossip that I'm pretty sure you guys are going to like. But first, before we get into all of that, what did you ladies think about this show?
Oh my gosh. Ooh. I remember me and Chelsie were crying.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, this one is sad. There has not been an episode this season that was a tearjerker to me, but this ending did it.
Yeah.
First one of the season so far.
Oh, well, I didn't like this episode.
No!
I think it was more okay, I'll put it this way. As a one-off episode, it was fine.
Yeah.
I just felt like it didn't move the needle whatsoever with the season. Like, it just they just dropped this episode in on us, and that's it. Like, it moved the needle a little bit about Amelia and Owen, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But just everyone else, like, last week was such a great episode, I thought, and then this week it was just kind of like, okay, now we're just going to throw a family member of Maggie out there, and she's going to die. And I was like...
It wouldn't be Grey's Anatomy if somebody's
family member. Somebody's family member.
And let's just say, knowing Grey's Anatomy, there might be a character from Maggie's and Weber's family that could come back in the next episode or later down the season. So maybe they were just laying out the groundwork a little bit.
I think they for sure will. And when we get to predictions later on, I'll let you know my thoughts a little more. But just overall, I was just kind of like, why this episode?
Yeah, and I will say, Haley, you do bring up an interesting point because, like you said, there really wasn't much movement in this. I thought at least Maggie would be like, oh, I'm going to work here.
Yeah,
now.
no, agreed.
But, that didn't even happen. So I do agree with you on that. However, I did really like this episode. I really loved how it touched on Maggie and the family that she doesn't know. And speaking of Maggie, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about her. So this all starts off with Jackson and Maggie, and they are still not on good terms.
No, they not.
Catherine don't know nothing.
She doesn't know anything, and it's so awkward. It's like... You think you would tell your mom or your dad, but then again, we find out that Maggie hasn't even told Richard, so she can't even get mad about that. I was really hoping that we would see that family dinner, but...
Do we think that maybe it's because Jackson and Maggie both know that this really isn't the end?
I said it last.
Called it.
I said it the last time. I think they're going to get back together.
I think Jackson thinks it's done.
Yeah, he is over it.
He's not filling it out. He was so rude. He was just like, I'm talking with somebody. So
See,
Yeah.
I was a Jackson fan a couple of weeks ago, but this week I'm like, Jackson, you bring the jerk out. I'm not a huge fan of you today.
like, dang, you didn't have to talk like that to her.
I know.
I don't think he meant it in a bad, because he talks like that to, that's just his demeanor. He talks like that to a lot of people.
And didn't Maggie, in the beginning of the season, said we're not even friends? So she
Yes.
was a little harsh to him,
Yeah.
too. So how is he supposed to respond to that?
Yeah, but you're in a professional setting, and she was really trying to. It's not like she was trying to get with him or flirt with him or anything. Like, she's just letting him know some important information.
Yeah.
He did not have to talk to her like that. I'm just saying. I'm sticking up for Maggie with this one.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, because you are Team Jackson all the way.
Right.
Yeah,
But if
that's-
a guy ever, Jackson, my future boyfriend, if you ever talk to me like that, we having problems.
Issues.
Yeah. So Maggie, we fast forward a little bit, and Maggie meets someone that looks exactly like her. And we find out that this woman, her name is Sabrina, aka Sabi, right?
Sabi.
Sabi
like baby.
Yeah, Sabi.
Literally, like she said, Sabi like baby.
And she is Richard's cousin, correct?
No,
Or
her
niece.
Niece.
Yeah, she's Richard's niece.
Yeah.
And it just, what did you guys think about that whole interaction when they first met? Because I felt it was just very, very just out of nowhere. Like, oh, hey, I'm related to you. How's it going?
Yeah. I would have had the same exact reaction as Maggie. I thought it was very justified that she's like, and I am who? Like,
Yeah.
can you fill in some blanks here? I wouldn't have been surprised if Grey's Anatomy would have had her end up being actually Maggie's sister, knowing just Richard Weber's closet. But, like,
Oh,
I'm
that'd
sorry.
be crazy.
Just saying. But
Yeah.
the fact that now we're meeting Richard's brother, that's interesting, because is this the first time that we're really hearing about his siblings?
Yeah, we never really dived deep into Richard Weber's
Yeah,
family
like lineage,
members.
yeah.
But then again, he might be, like, his brother might be right. Like, maybe he was ashamed of him.
Yeah.
But I will say, I've actually had that moment with Maggie. Like, I have people all the time, like, whenever I visit Mississippi, everybody always leave, like, oh, hey, we family. So I say it's normal. It's a
is.
normal thing.
I've actually had that moment too. I've had someone reach out to me on Facebook and said, "Oh, by the way, we're half sisters."
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, what was that like then?
Whoa.
Well,
Whoa.
I'll let you go first. You could explain your moment.
It was awkward. Okay, so the Facebook one, that one was awkward
Yeah.
at first because I'm thinking we just cousins. Cousins, that's a normal thing.
Yeah.
If we cousins, that's normal. But this whole sister thing, that's like, whoa, my people got explaining to do.
Yeah.
That's a reality show right
Wow.
there.
It was. Yeah, I called my mom right away. So I have a half sister.
Right.
Yeah, my parents don't too much about me, but parents are separated, and I never really kept in touch with my dad's side of the family, so it kind of makes sense. But she wanted to get to know me, and I apparently have family out there that I still need to meet.
See, this is why both of you are on this show, because you guys can relate so much to
It's a
these
good
characters.
show.
It was so perfect.
I will say, this is the first time where I'm like, dang, I can relate to Grey's Anatomy.
The
Wow.
mixture of the family members, I was just like, this is normal to me. Like, I understand.
Yeah. And I had Maggie's reaction too, like, oh. And it's so cool that she developed a friend almost in this.
She really did.
And that's what's so heartbreaking towards the end, but I love Maggie's attitude.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
get to know her.
Yeah. And so we find out that Sabi, she has this huge heart tumor, and automatically I'm just like, of course, like something has to go wrong. Everything can't be perfect. And I wrote something in my notes that said, you know, Maggie and Sabi, they are just completely different people. But then literally, as soon as I wrote that, they start talking about how alike they are, and I'm like, wow, they actually are alike. Did you guys think that they were as alike as they were, or as they were saying?
I thought that Sabi was a little more outgoing than Maggie. Like,
Yeah.
she was willing to kind of really extend her hand, put herself out there. And, like, when she was trying to find, I guess, commonalities between them and showing them the animals on her phone. She's like, you'll like this. And Maggie was like, no, I think I'm good. Thanks. Like those points, I was like, okay, that was a little much. I felt like Maggie was a little out of her comfort zone in those moments. But
I felt like they were more. Oh, sorry, my
go
bad.
for it. No, you're good.
I felt like they were more together with the crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
That's when I was just like, oh, they are both geniuses. And Maggie probably didn't grow up like how she grew up. For sure. Maggie was probably the one being picked on a lot. You know how she talks about her sad childhood. Yeah. And she probably got praised more for being a genius.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I was watching, I was just saying this is really cool that we're seeing more of Maggie's biological family, because we really don't see that much. And then she said something. What did she say? She said, I never really get to see people who look like me that are related to me or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I know. That's why I wish her character would have stayed on.
I know.
But it was great to see Maggie have that connection, because I remember when she first was telling Dr. Weber that their family, it wasn't like this. This was just so happy, and you're just rooting for them. And with Weber and Maggie, it was kind of a little bit of a jigsaw, a little bit for them. So yeah, it was good. I liked their connection.
Do you think that, because I feel like this was really the first time that we've seen Maggie, or at least in my most recent memory, that we've seen Maggie lose a patient that she was this connected to. Do you think that she should have even done the surgery?
Let's get to that soon. Let's talk about the father first, and how, like you said, he didn't want Maggie to operate on her whatsoever, and I
couldn't figure out why though. Like,
well, both of them didn't want to, and I think he just didn't want Maggie to operate on her because Sadie didn't want Maggie to operate on her.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
he just wanted what was best for her, and he thought that was best
wishes.
for her.
Yeah.
Did you guys at that moment in time, did you guys agree with the father?
I understood where he was coming from.
Yeah.
You know, your daughter can't really speak for herself, so you're trying to uphold her wishes, and she didn't want this not newfound, she knew who Maggie was, but regardless, this new relationship to, I guess, come into jeopardy. What was interesting to me is it seemed like Sadie knew so much about Maggie, they should know how great of a surgeon Maggie is, so they should not have wanted anyone else to perform the surgery other than Maggie. You know, like, it was just weird to me how he was so against it that it almost felt like more than just because his daughter said no.
Right.
I thought what did I call it? It's Sadie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking
a
of
mix
Sabrina.
of Sabrina and Sadie.
No, but I'm thinking of like Sabrina the Witch and calling her Sabina. I don't know. But yeah, I did think that she brought up some valid points as far as her being family. I felt like it was more so she felt more connected with her.
Yeah.
And honestly, she was right. You don't know how someone's going to react when you're related to the person. What if this happens? What if this happens? And Maggie wasn't exactly making it as easy. She was kind of just saying, your points are invalid. She wasn't giving her detailed points to how, counteract it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's because Maggie just doesn't lose patience. Like, she's literally like a little superhero. She saves everybody. And so I don't think that it even remotely crossed her mind that the option of the outcome would have been what it was.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think for a minute she was afraid of that tumor. I don't think for a minute did she think that there was even a realm of possibility that she was going to lose her.
I think it's just the guilt. That's what the dad was trying to avoid. Because if anything happened to his daughter, he did not want that to be on Maggie.
Projected on her?
Yes. And that's where his outburst came towards the end, saying I didn't even want her to do this, because now it puts a barrier between them, and he didn't want that. I think he really authentically wanted to build this relationship with Maggie, and when you do surgery on someone's life, it could go either way, and I think he did not want to gamble or take that chance.
Yeah, during that point in time, I was like, I don't understand why the father is acting like this.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying that Maggie is the best.
Yeah.
Richard is saying it. Maggie is saying it. She has the papers to prove it, that she can save this woman's life. But the father is saying no. So it didn't click to me. Fast forward to your point, you know, if that the surgeon that Richard had got came in and actually followed the protocol that they usually follow, would she still be alive? That's the question. But see, we still don't know because they follow protocol, but is this surgeon as good as Maggie?
Yep.
So that's the what if.
Did anyone else think the surgeon he was talking about was Owen? That like crossed my mind for a brief second because he was like, I have a surgeon downstairs that's capable of doing this type of surgery in these types of situations. And so it made me think that it might be Owen. But then when he said he was in the parking lot, then I was like,
this other doctor that the father wanted to bring in, do you think they knew Sabi's medical condition where
No.
they could have prevented
I think
that?
he was just a random doctor that Richard needed to get so Maggie wouldn't be on the
surgery.
case.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he called one in instead of getting. I do not like that hospital, y'all. I'm scared. I'm so scared of that hospital. But I think they should have at least had met with the other doctor just to see what options and stuff he had.
Well, but remember they couldn't because she started crashing beforehand.
Yeah, because at
but
first
he was in the parking lot, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was about to get in, and then she started crashing.
Yeah.
So they had to really like work fast, and that's when Richard made the decision. Hey, Maggie's gonna do this. She's the best. She can do it, and she possibly could have done it if she knew the proper protocol in that hospital.
Yeah,
that's true.
That doctor should have said something. I don't care what the protocol was. If you see a red flag or if you see like something's not right, your job is to moderate, isn't it? So
we have some people in the live chat that are chiming in on this. So we have Debbie, who is again saying, which we did talk about this. I felt Maggie could have done the surgery, but the workers at Pac North kind of failed her.
Right.
Which we brought that up about the guy, so we'll get to that one. And then also Tammy said Sabi's perspective of the relationship was that Maggie was family because she'd known about Maggie for a while. On the flip side, Maggie had just met her, so she didn't really have time for her to feel like family.
Right.
So I think that's why she's saying Maggie could have done the surgery because she didn't view her necessarily as close as family.
Right. As far as putting the blame on
The one poor male doctor.
Yeah, in that
like it was
room,
his fault.
I don't. At first I did, but then I started thinking about it. He was following protocol. He thought that Maggie knew the protocol. It was miscommunication. Simple
It was
as that.
literally just an unfortunate situation.
Exactly.
And again, it was just something Maggie kind of tends to do this. She throws herself into these situations and she literally just came flying in. I can save the day.
Right.
I've got this, without taking the time to make sure everyone in the room knew what she needed.
And I'm going to give Maggie a little leeway because what had happened was so sudden. She had to get in there really quick. She didn't have time to talk to the doctors, to find whatever the proper protocol was. She just had to get in there and get work done.
But didn't Alex introduce her as new?
Yeah.
Like saying so.
Yeah, that's true.
This is Maggie.
Yeah.
He
That's
did say
true.
this is Maggie from Grace Sloan, and she said, "Don't hold that against me."
Right. So I'm just saying, like, I still blame that doctor. I'm sorry. He should have said something.
At least
Right.
at some point. Like, if he's sitting there monitoring the situation, at some point when it becomes a problem, he should have said something before Maggie having to be like, whoa, this is what's going on. Although I will commend her that she did a heck of a job regathering the room and taking command in that moment of crisis.
Side note. How bad did you want to be a doctor when she was introducing herself to everyone and saying, all right, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I really wish I was a doctor. Not really, but I really wish
Like,
I was
she
a
was just
doctor.
directing the room like, I need ice, I need this, we need this. We have 3 minutes to do this. I was like, all right, Maggie, let's go. What do you need from me?
How cool was that?
She,
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. Let's talk about Chris real quick and his relationship with Richard. So I felt awful for Chris when he heard the news because I feel like something in him told him that another doctor needed to work on Sabi.
Yeah.
Did you guys think that, like, after everything happened?
Yeah, I felt bad for him that he was right.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole situation, obviously, we'll talk more about Katherine in a little bit, but just that whole room was awkward. And I just kind of felt bad because they were actually at a moment that he was kind of smiling. They were reminiscing on moments together, talking about Sabi. And then all of a sudden, all Richard did was offer to pay for his coke, and he flew off the handle and was like back to hating him. It's just, I'm interested to see if they're going to continue to give us more information about the two of them.
See, that's why I'm saying this episode, it's good because I feel like Chris is going to come on in later seasons.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to do with Weber, Catherine, somewhere down the story plot.
Yeah.
So that's why this episode might have been a little out of the air, but...
I will say it was strange to me that when Catherine saw Chris, she went and touched his face to say hello to him. You don't, someone that you barely know, you don't just touch their face when you say hello. At least I don't. And then, the other thing was that she knew that that store had closed. Like, she knew details about Chris's life that Richard didn't. So I'm like, how does Catherine fit in to this history too?
Right,
Yeah,
I'm really
like
curious about
she's one
that.
of the family members that you know how it's like you have a couple, but it's like one of the partners visits more of the family members than the other.
Yeah.
It seemed like that type of relationship to me because I didn't get that either.
Yeah, but it's weird because if you kind of know that your significant other doesn't have a good relationship with those family members, like, you don't really go out of your way to keep up with them. You know, like, why would you reach out to someone that your significant other's family members?
That's true,
you know?
because I feel like she does that a lot with Jackson. Like, she'll always touch his face and be like, baby, and just very motherly towards him. So I kind of got that vibe a little bit.
Like, needless to say, she didn't even know that her son was no longer dating his girlfriend, but she somehow knows the business about her significant, like, her man's brother. Like, it was just
adding
weird.
up.
Yeah, it's just weird.
We'll have to wait and see. But before we go on to anything else, we have a special announcement that we want to let you guys know.
All right, we just want to say thank you guys so much for making AfterBuzz TV the ESPN of TV talk. In order to help us grow, we ask please subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave us a comment, and give us a rate on iTunes. We really just want to thank Kevin and Maria for creating AfterBuzz TV because we're able to engage with you guys as fans and do what we love. Yes!
I love that staff.
All right, let's go on to, or let's move on to Richard and Catherine and Gemma. Gemma cannot take a hint. The girl needs to sit down somewhere, eat an apple. I don't know.
I literally said, like, she just pops up. I'm like, does she just have, like, Richard Radar? Literally, Richard Radar, though. Like, does she just know where he is at all times?
Right.
Because she just, like, pops up in those moments. And, like, I'm not even gonna lie, I feel like I can, like, deflect on this a little bit because I feel like I've had these instances in life where it's just like that person just shows up when you don't want them to be there, and it's like, yo, like, where did you even come from?
Yeah.
You know, like, she works in accounting. How did she make her way to the patient room and to comfort Weber? Like, just what?
Okay, Gemma, take a hit.
This is really me when I'm about to say, but she's like a little fly that just keeps flying around, and you think you got away from it when you go into another room, but lo and behold, it's still there, flying around. You shoo it away, but it won't go away. It's still there.
And even Richard, when she came into the room, was like, "Oh my gosh," shaking his
Like,
head.
oh,
Like,
this is the last thing that I needed right now.
And what did you think about that interaction when Catherine walks into the room with them? What did you think was going to happen?
It was good. She knew. She called it out. And even when she left, she told Weber, "You're talking a lot for someone who says there's nothing to talk about."
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why I love Catherine, because that's something I would say. Be
Well,
like,
she's completely right. When she said that, I was like, she ain't wrong.
No.
She's
She's
not.
not wrong.
Catherine knows everything.
And because literally Richard went very defensive. You know, you have to list all these accolades to prove what someone isn't. Typically, then that means that there's a little more underneath there.
Yeah.
and did you guys like how calm she was? She played it so cool.
That's
and calm,
like the most scary part about it.
That's what I like about her. That's what
Yeah.
I like. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna rat yourself out eventually.
Yeah.
She just maintained her poise through the whole thing with Richard when she was interacting with her.
Yep.
It wasn't like, where she just showed any resentment. She's just like playing out the situation. Oh, so what's going on here? Okay. All right.
This is my thing about Richard. I feel like he just should have told her. He didn't. He hasn't done anything wrong.
Agreed.
It's all Gemma. She is the one making the moves. Richard is actually being the stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And telling her, no, I'm not interested. I'm in love with someone else.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why not say anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because he feels like he's gonna hurt Katherine, because Katherine has proven she is a very strong woman.
Yeah, she can handle it.
So maybe he's afraid Katherine's gonna hurt Gemma. I don't know.
She already wants to
true.
send her to other states. I'll just
Right. Real quick, let's talk about that. What did you think about that reaction between Katherine and Gemma? Because I thought she was actually sincerely being nice until she said there are no openings in Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was a boss woman move. Like, okay, protect your man, protect your relationship. You see a snake slithering in the grass, get it out.
Yep. I knew from the get-go it wasn't.
It was trouble.
Yeah,
I
you could tell
thought
the
it
way
was
she was
just
sitting
like
in the
a-
dark, just hello.
Yeah, that's what I like.
yes.
She kept her poise the whole entire
Yep.
time. Very casual.
She knows what she's doing. Catherine Fox don't do anything on accident.
No.
Yeah. Let's go to Amelia and Owen. I really liked this storyline between them. So
You mean Amelia vomit? She has thought vomit all the time.
yes,
yeah.
all the time.
Literally all the time.
All the time. She had it. It was last episode where she had it, right?
Literally, it's painful
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
You just cringe.
It's
like,
painful yet very funny at
Yes.
the same
I'm
time.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm pregnant.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
So we fast forward a little bit, and so Owen, he has a patient where he thinks this woman, her name was, I blanked on her name, but Cassidy.
Yeah.
He thinks that she threw herself down the stairs to get rid of a baby. Turns out that she was taking something to get rid of it,
Yes.
right? What did you think about this whole storyline?
It was sad. I thought it was the kind of a typical storyline to have given to supplement what Amelia and Owen were working through.
Yeah.
Like, that was just kind of all that I got from her little subplot.
Okay.
I knew it was coming. I think the fans were even like all inputting on this, saying like, okay, I wonder what Owen's reaction's gonna be. Oh, I think he's gonna do this. So it was needed, the conversation. I don't think Owen had the right to be. When he was explaining more, I understood a little bit, but I don't think you're in a whole nother relationship, having a baby with somebody else.
Owen gets
or you did have a baby
butthurt
with somebody
so
else.
many
Yeah.
times. Like, my gosh, man.
Right.
I did. I felt for him. Like, when he was saying, like, it's just more of that realization of, like,
I'm getting the volume.
like, kind of just like, yeah, I know. Right here, I got it. Just more of the, like, dang, like, this woman that I did love, like, he had a valid point. Like, their marriage ended because Amelia didn't see herself with a family. And then she went off and got accidentally, but still pregnant with another man, choosing to have a family with this other man. Like, that's gotta sting a little if you're
Yeah.
Owen. And especially the way he still looks at her. Like, you can tell he still cares. And especially in the end, like, I honestly thought they might even kiss again. I was like, please don't. We don't need this.
Me
We don't
too,
need
yeah,
this triangle.
Okay.
But then it also bothered me that Amelia always avoids the hard conversations. Like, in that moment, how she just walked away from him and left him hanging there. Like, first of all, she just dumps it on him. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm pregnant. He, like, pours out his heart that he's like, wow,
Right.
like, this is why this is hard for me. And then she's just like, okay, yeah, that was a lot. I'm gonna walk away now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But she did redeem herself, thankfully, towards the end, and they had a talk out, and it's revealed that, Owen was actually the reason why part of the reason why she decided to have this kid, or why she decided to keep this kid. And she said something really interesting, that kind of just that's just really what this whole episode is about. And she said, like it or not, we're family now.
Yeah.
And that has to deal with Maggie and Sabi and Chris, and that's pretty much what this whole episode was
for
about.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I will say that whole scene gave me a doozy when they were explaining their whole family line.
It did. I was trying to
Leo,
concentrate
Betty,
and
Owen, Link, and then we have another baby going in, and I was trying to see the attachments.
Well, that's even like last week when Amelia was trying to explain it to Link's parents. Like, it's just like, oh, this is just way too complicated to simply throw out there.
Yeah.
We need to get a diaphragm.
Yeah, but really.
It was very complicated.
We need a family tree.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, let's move on to some news and gossip.
Well, our news and gossip for this week. First of all, you guys were just talking about Owen and what your thoughts were on him when he was talking with Amelia. Well, the fans had their own opinion, and they even put it on social media. They said, even apart, Owen can be toxic and abusive. No one deserves it. He has no right to charge anything for Amelia. He had his choice, formed the family he always wanted. Now it's Amelia's turn, and she's visibly better and happier without him. I confess I'm looking forward to meeting the baby, one Instagram user wrote. Overall, 200 fans liked that comment. So some of the fans were not happy with Owen tonight. And
I wasn't.
yeah, I see where they're coming from. I mean, I think when he was explaining himself that we talked about a little bit, like, you know, you didn't want to have a family with me, and that's the reason why our relationship, one of the reasons why our relationship ended. He just had to get that out. Mm-hmm. But overall, the fans did not like the way he charged at her. They felt like, you know what, he decided to have a different life. She moved on. Yep. It is what it is. It's the past.
What does he expect? Her to never get pregnant for the rest of her life?
Yeah.
So
I mean, technically she said she didn't want to, but
true.
Yeah. Well, they all have new families now. But speaking about families, Sadie and Maggie are sisters in real life. Which,
Plot twist.
Plot twist. It makes sense because they do such a good job on screen. Yep. So
That would be funny if like a fan would say like, they don't look related. This is so unbelievable.
Is she a working actor also? Do we know, or did she just come on the show just to be like, oh, I want to do this for fun?
I think she's a little bit. I kind of dug a little deeper and went to her Instagram to see if she posted anything about it, and she was equally excited. It was kind of like when I had finally gotten the call that I could come on this one episode, I was really excited. This was my huge break for me, and getting to be with as talented
really
as
cool.
an actress as my sister.
That's awesome.
Well, for her first one, she did great.
She
did.
It was really cool.
She did.
Maybe we'll see more of her.
Yeah.
Not on Grey's Anatomy, but...
Well, Shonda Rhimes, what I said last week, she started a new show on Netflix, so we might see her on there, too. It's
true.
Ooh, never know.
That
the
would be
door is
interesting.
That's why
opened.
she had to die, man.
Yeah.
So
true.
sad.
That's why most people die in shows.
Right, and then they go to
They have
another
other
show.
opportunities.
Yeah. Any more on news and gossip?
That's it for this week.
All right, let's go to our special segment.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor Who. So everybody grab their paper.
Okay.
Yes.
I need to borrow one, but I have a pen.
I was about to say, here you go.
Thank you.
For those of you guys who don't know what Doctor Who is, it is where I will say a quote. I see you, Haley. From one of the doctors from the show, and it could be from any season. So, you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. It's amazing what passes for good news around here.
Wow, really?
Okay, say it again. It's amazing what passes for good news around here. What do y'all think?
I don't know.
I'm just going to guess.
Y'all want a hint?
Yeah.
This season.
Was it this episode?
I'm just gonna say this season. Alright. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. Ooh, it looks like some of y'all are coming in too, so ready?
right.
Show your answers in 3, 2, 1. You said Amelia, you said Catherine, you said Joe. No, you guys are all wrong, but
everyone in the chat
got it right.
How
It was
they always
Richard
get it right.
Weber.
They always get it
Richard,
right.
look it up.
Can I get half credit?
Yo, look it up.
Richard
Oh, you
Weber
got his
said
other half?
I got his other half.
I
Half
said
credit?
Joe because she was there today.
All right, I got another quote for you guys, but it's a little longer, so you might get it.
Okay.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
I am saying this because she is my patient, and she is in the recovery wing of this hospital trying to recover, and visiting hours are over. So good night, and Merry Christmas.
Oh.
So it was a Christmas episode, right? I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. This is a long one, you guys. I am saying this because she is my patient and she is in the recovery wing of this hospital trying to recover, and visiting hours are over. So good night and Merry Christmas.
I'm just gonna say the only person that kind of sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Show your answers in 3, 2, 1. You said Meredith, you said Christina, you said Bailey. Oh, incorrect, but
Dang it.
Leah's got it right. It is George O'Malley, 007.
You know, I'm just
I
gonna
would've
throw it
never
out
got
there.
that.
We should change the rules to being only alive characters.
But it's funny that you said
just kidding.
Bailey because that was the episode where George actually said it for Bailey, and Bailey was just like, interns, what are you gonna do?
Well,
Well,
it sounded like a Bailey
I missed
quote.
that
That's why I was
guy.
like, this for sure is
Yeah.
Bailey.
Yes, and that's when that old lady was going off on Bailey. Yeah, saying that she could sue them. But that's it, you guys.
Well,
You guys
Cool.
are going cool.
They got it.
Everyone got it.
So wait, so the first answer was who was the first answer
Richard.
again? Richard, and then the,
The
second
second
one
answer
was
is
George
George.
O'Malley. All right.
George O'Malley.
Well, we'll see if I can do better next time.
Thank you guys for playing.
Well, thank you for you have good. You stumped us on
Yeah,
this one.
yeah.
That
was
one
good.
was a long one. That one was a tongue
Normally I can
twister.
get at least one. That was sad.
All
To
right.
lose.
You
Let's-
both got like half the answer.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, we got
Nice.
half of it.
The people in the scene.
Hey, we got some credit.
Bonus points for whoever in the live chat can tell us what exact episode that was.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will shout you out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'll go.
Let's hear
I know you
it.
were
Let's
ready.
hear
I've
it.
been waiting. So I think this is my thought process on this whole episode with Maggie, that Maggie never does, nothing that Grey's Anatomy ever does is unintentional. So I think this episode, to me, it was really hard hitting in the fact that this was the first time we really saw Maggie crack, you know, and we saw kind of this porcelain figure of her like take a hit. And I think that it's going to continue to spiral, unfortunately. I think this is going to be hard on her, and I think it's going to force her to actually self-reflect on other things in her life, say like relationship with Jackson. And I
Yeah.
think it's going to, I think this was just the tipping point of this huge snowball of Maggie starting to have this huge realization of a lot of different things.
I'm gonna bounce off of you
Yeah.
because that was one of my
Bounce.
predictions. So I don't think they're gonna get back together, but I do think Jackson is going to remind Maggie like that she is the
like who
best.
she is.
She is a good doctor, and what happened. It was a sad mistake, mess up, but she is great and she is meant to be a doctor.
Yeah.
You took my prediction from me, but bouncing off of that, what I said a little bit earlier, I think Chris is going to come back and he's going to play a bigger role in this season. And I'm hoping that he's able, at first it's going to be bumpy between him and Maggie, but there's going to be hopefully a turning point where they're able to become family and he wants to get to know her. But I do not think this is the end for Chris.
I think it's going to be worse for Chris and Weber's relationship, though.
Yes, it's going to take a while.
It's going to be bad for them.
I'm just gonna say it right now. Maggie and Jackson are getting back together. I'm calling it right here, right now. Am I happy for it?
Episode 7,
but-
remember it. All of you fans out there, remember it.
Let's be honest. The girl that Jackson is with now, you know, she's not a regular character.
Yeah.
On Grey's Anatomy,
Yeah.
you know, so she's not, unless they make her one. But as of now,
Yeah.
she doesn't seem like she's gonna stick around. We
For sure.
barely even see her.
I mean, neither is Ben, but he's still with Bailey. I'm just saying.
That's true.
But he was. Like, it wasn't like we went forward with Ben not bringing
Yeah.
him in.
That is very true.
All right, Lanita, you're impressive. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. Season 2, episode 12.
All right, good for her.
Impressive.
Good for
I wonder
her.
if they looked it up.
All right, guys.
Hey.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you again so much for joining us on this after show. Ladies, sign us out.
Yes, I'm Lanisha. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lanisha, spelled Lanisha 914.
And I am Haley Graves. You can find me on Instagram at Haley Graves with 2 S's. That's HALEYGRAVESS. And on Twitter, Haley1 Graves 2. And I'll be right back here on Legacy's After Show panel in 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
There
Tune
you
in.
go. And you can find me on Instagram at chelsieoverocker. That's Chelsea with an IE. And on Twitter at chelsieoverocker.
And I am your host, Benny Adams. You can find me on all social media at Benny J. Adams. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Late.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.